Hi traders. So the markets are a little bit quiet today because of the lack of economic news. And we've seen the major indices consolidate recent moves as investors weigh the impact of weaker than expected economic data against what has been a strong earnings season in the US so far. Now, the major indices are looking a little bit fatigued after a big rally that commenced in early April. And the Dow Jones here, you can see it has tested the previous all-time highs that were made last year and the year before that, these levels here at around 45,000 area. We tested that area at the end of July, but there wasn't much follow through on the upside, and the resulting fake out caused the index to reverse some of its recent gains, and we fell for a few days. The index has bounced back to test potential resistance here at around 44,300, which was previously a support level that gave way during last week's breakdown. Here we also have the 21-day exponential moving average converging as well. So it's an area that could hold the market down, which could potentially see the Dow Jones retest some of the prior support levels, for example, this 43,755 level. And potentially even break below that to test this major support area that I've highlighted in my article, which was published earlier. This area is significant support because it was previously a major resistance zone, and the index tried on multiple occasions to break through it but failed before eventually taking it out at the end of June. Here we also have the 200-day moving average converging as well, making it a key support zone to watch on a potential retest from above. So if the Dow were to get here, I would expect to see a bounce of some sort, potentially a strong bounce, but we will cross that bridge if and when we get there. European markets are mostly higher today, but they too are lacking momentum, which is typical for this time of the year with many people away on holidays. And August and September are seasonally not the strongest month for equity markets anyway. But the DAX, the German benchmark stock index, has also broken a major or a key support area, I should say, this shaded region, which was previously support. The index had bounced there on multiple occasions before it finally gave way last week. We're now retesting that area from underneath, so we could potentially see resistance hold there and lead to another potential drop towards support seen at around this blue shaded region, which was obviously already tested last week. So it remains to be seen whether we'll get another test of that zone. All told, however, the market is basically consolidating, and it's too early to say whether the bullish trend has ended or whether we will see a resumption of that trend. Now, in the FX space, we've seen a sharp drop in the US dollar. Here we're looking at the dollar index, which is a basket of foreign currencies traded against the US dollar. And previously, we were looking at the 100 level as a potential turning point because it was a massive level of support in the past. We broke below it earlier this year, and then we retested it last week. But then we had that weaker than expected jobs report, which was then followed by the weaker than expected manufacturing and services PMIs, which caused the dollar to really take a beating. And so that kind of ended the dollar's bullish trend that had commenced in July. A lot will now depend on incoming economic data from the US. If inflation data weakens, that should be a further bearish development for the US dollar. Whereas if you see the return of a stronger than expected economic data from the US, then that could provide the dollar renewed support. It's also worth watching who Donald Trump will appoint at the Fed. And speaking of Trump, it's worth watching where the trade negotiations go with countries that are buying crude oil from Russia, for example, India. And keep an eye also on the tariff talks between the US and Switzerland, where 39% tariffs have been imposed for now, but they are working on a trade deal to lower those tariffs. For more market insights and analysis, make sure to check out the news and analysis section at cityindex.com. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.